Welcome to Craft Chat Chronicles, the go-to podcast for tips on crafting best-selling fiction. Here at Craft Chat Chronicles, we bring you expert interviews, insights, and tips on writing, publishing, and marketing. Join the conversation and embark on a new chapter in your writing journey. For workshops, show notes, and more information, visit jdmayall.com. That's jdmayall.com.
Ever wonder what it would take to be an illustrator? Well, in Season 2, Episode 1 of Craft Chat Chronicles, we talked to Sarah Mai. She's an author and an illustrator. Her new graphic novel, Freshman Year, is in stores now. And today she's going to talk about pitching graphic novels, her publishing path, and her writing journey. So listen, enjoy, and learn a little bit more about how to get started as a illustrator. Good, you've got some exciting things going on.
Yeah, I do. And it's been a busy week. I'm still at work. So if you hear anything, it's office noise. So but yeah, it's been a big week. So it's been very fun.
Exciting. Tell me a little bit about your publishing journey.
Yeah. So a publishing journey. Oh boy, where do I even start? Okay. So I started in about what year would that have been? About 2020 officially, with my agent, and she had me do a sample for the Cool Code books, kind of right on as a test period. And neither of us were expecting anything out of that, but we ended up signing the project. So I worked on those two books, and then kind of while I was working on those two books, we were putting together the pitch for Freshman Year. And then I think in 2020 also, we ended up pitching that to Christy Ativano Little Brown, and then they picked it up. And then I finished that book in 2023. And that's kind of been the journey of the actual publishing part. So, a good 3 years in the traditional publishing. Yeah.
What drew you to traditional publishing?
I don't know if there was anything in particular. I don't have a real preference towards traditional or non-traditional publishing. I really like, especially in comics, I really like self-published or a lot of these smaller boutique publishing houses. I think they do really interesting work, and there's a lot more freedom, I think, in form, and you're not beholden to book formats as much. So I don't think there's anything in particular, and it wasn't, I guess, necessarily a dream to be traditionally published. It just, that's kind of where the project ended up. But I think I'm curious to see kind of where my journey with that goes. I might do some self-publishing, or I might do some kind of other avenues for stuff in the future. And there's kind of a purpose for everything, and every kind of avenue for getting your work out there. So yeah, we'll see. But yeah, I guess no specific draw as far as big publishing houses go.
Okay. How do you think your degree in English literature influenced your storytelling and your style?
Well, I know a lot of advice from writers is that you need to read a lot in order to write. And I read a lot of different stuff during my English degree, and I kind of gives you a good basis for how a story is kind of structured, and you get kind of a rhythm of what something is kind of supposed to feel like, or you kind of get a basis for how you could do something. That definitely helped with the writing process. I actually did an English literature analysis track, so I didn't do a lot of creative writing in college. I kind of did that personally. And actually did still help because I was still doing all the noticing and all the reading, and it also kind of changes your worldview. So, if I had tried to write something when I was 18, it would be totally different than what I would try to write when I was out of college. And I don't think I would have been tuned into the same kinds of things as I did after my degree. And you also kind of develop a sense of taste too. So you kind of are able to pick out what you like and what you don't like, and put that into your own style too. So otherwise, like just developing the like rhythm in life of reading and of writing in an English degree helps kind of get you into the rhythm of that if you're going to try to do it later. Like many nights up late, writing papers helped me kind of get to that point where I could stay up late and try to, clunk out a scene or something. So yeah, lots of rhythms. I'm talking about rhythms a lot, but yeah, you kind of get it into your body, the like literature feeling, and it definitely helped. And I don't think there's gonna, I don't know if there's gonna be another time in my life where I am that deep into reading all the time. Like that was probably the most intensive period of reading in my life. And but who knows? Maybe there'll be another time where I read more.
Tell me the story behind the story. How did your debut novel freshman year come to be?
So I had started writing it my first semester sophomore year in a graphic novel class, actually. And it started as like a 12-page comic called Fish Out of Water. And it was just kind of about feeling like a fish that sort of found itself on land, was flopping around. And it was kind of fish themed, but it was to do with that first year and feeling kind of like in a new environment, like, how am I going to do this? And I pitched it I presented it to the class, and then I saw this kind of like spark of recognition in people's faces, and I got some feedback about it. And it made me sort of like feel energized in that moment that, okay, maybe like there's something there that people might need to see about, like, if they went into their first year of school and sort of like maybe sort of stumbled in the entrance and kind of didn't make all the hurdles. And so after that, I worked on kind of developing it slowly over college. And then when I got to like the stage where I was like, am I doing this for real? Am I thinking about doing illustration as a career or doing any of that? When I got to the agency part, I had about 3 rounds of developing that pitch until we got to the publishing house. So it had a good long run before it became what it actually is. And I think that did help because it's kind of a hard time period to pitch marketing wise. It's not quite teen, it's not quite adult. That's kind of like part of the point too. And like, it took a lot to like hone in, like, where were we going to place our like tone, and where were we going to place like the style. And so yeah, it was about 6 years where it was kind of slowly developing into what it became. But yeah, started a graphic novel class.
That's awesome. I have a question. How does the submission process and all that go for the illustrator side, or the author illustrator side? Because you're the first author illustrator I've interviewed. I've interviewed authors, but you're the first author illustrator.
Yeah, as far as like publishing, getting it into like people's hands.
Yeah. Like,
yeah,
I don't know, like what like type of document, like what's the normal form and stuff like that for the people who aspire to be you, that'll hear what you're quoted on and all that good stuff.
Yeah, this is super helpful information because I didn't know this. So you create a pitch packet, and I don't know if it's like this for everybody, but this is how it was for me. I wrote about like 50 pages of a manuscript.
Mm-hmm.
And then, so it's kind of like a play or a movie script. And then I think it was the first 15 to 20 pages I illustrated in full.
Mm-hmm.
And then, okay, let me break this down.
Was it like a PDF?
Yep, it was a PDF. Sorry, I should create. This is a document. First 15 pages was fully illustrated, like how it'll look in the end product. The first 3 are about fully colorized. So that's like the actual end product. Then it's like black line work. Then you have it's about 5 written scenes that are fully written out like a play. And then some people have their, script all fully fleshed out. We just did summaries to the end, some chapter summaries. So it's like a 50-page document. Mm-hmm. And then so it's a pretty considerable document. And then we also included a page of character descriptions and drawings of all the characters, because they're not all going to be in that, first 20 pages. Character descriptions, and then like a big summary of the book at the beginning, and then like a mock-up of what a cover might look like. So there's a lot that goes into making the pitch. It takes a very long time to like get it to that finished point where you can show it off, but it changed a lot after that point. And yeah, so you like for the graphic novels, you do need to be like pretty far along in the development stage. It's not like a novel where the whole thing has to be written essentially, but you do, have to put a pretty serious packet together. So yeah.
And then you go to the agent with the packet?
Yeah, so sometimes you go to it depends. So sometimes you go to the agent with the packet, or you, I'd probably do that now that I've gone through that phase. I'd probably start working on the packet to begin with. But sometimes your agent helps you put the packet together. Mm-hmm. And then you pitch it to publishing houses. That was the thing that we ended up like going through 3 rounds of, was that packet. And it takes a couple months to put the packet together. So, it's a pretty big like time investment. But yes. Yeah. I wish I had known that.
Okay. What do you think you did right that helped you become the debut novelist that you're soon to be, graphic novelist?
I don't know. I'm like wondering that myself. I don't know. I think, realistically, I think there was like a good core concept. And again, like I could see that like spark of recognition in people, and like that spark meant to me that they maybe hadn't seen something like that specific story before. And that kind of encouraged me to keep going into it. And because it's like about, it's like semi-autobiographical, it's very specific, and I can kind of only use my voice for that. And like, I think I like to put a lot of humor into my writing. It's just it's the way I talk. It's the way I think about things. It's like very integral to who I am as a person. And so I think the humor had a lot to do with it. And maybe if the humor hadn't been a big part of it, I don't think this book would have made it. And that humor was like baked into it right from the start, in the pitch, in the like proposal packet, and all of those things. So I think that probably had to do something with it, because people like to laugh. So, voice, strong voice.
Are there any things that you think are essential elements to a good graphic novel?
Oh, well, I like so many different graphic novels. So like something that's essential to one thing might not be essential to another. Like humor might be essential to one book, but it's not, heart or something is essential to another book. Mm-hmm. I think like specificity is probably the one thing that is most important, because I kind of think about it like I think about a film where like a lot of the time I'm drawn to something that is a very particular, unique look, or has, a very particular, unique tone. And that specificity makes the projects more memorable. And so if you can put a lot of personal like detail into it, even if it's fictional, like if it's things that you notice or things that are important to you, like that really like fills up a book. Like it makes it just that extra level. And there's so many different genres where you could do that. So there's not just specificity. I'm trying not to tangent.
Do you have any advice for aspiring writers on creating relatable characters in graphic novels?
Yeah, I mean, you have to like notice your friends and notice yourself, notice things that make you and your friends unique, and make your little things that they'll say, little quirks. We all have those little things that some of us like, maybe like me, we go on full long tangents. Some people are very, concise and succinct, and they maybe pause before they say things. And like, there's these elements of like time, there's kind of a visual and time element to graphic novels. And so you can show those things. You can show if someone is kind of stumbling through their words, or you can show if they're maybe taking a pause before they're going to say something important, or if they're launching into it. And like, I would just say, start thinking about those things about people, and then start like writing them down, like writing down something maybe someone said to you that was particularly interesting. I keep like a running tab in my phone on notes of just like little phrases that I hear people, people have these little things that they say that are so interesting. And you're like, I don't know where you got that, or maybe it's like regional, or maybe it's something to like a family trait or something, but that really like brings characters to life. And then besides that, you can like watch a lot of movies, or, it doesn't have just people, there's like tones of different genres too, and you can pick up on that. And, but I think again, it's like a lot of it comes from your personal life and what you think is important and what you think is like beautiful or funny or interesting about the people around you. And then take notes. Yeah. Notice and take notes.
Mm-hmm. Hi, JD Mile here. Sorry to interrupt. I wanted to thank you for tuning in and to let you know that this episode of Craft Chat Chronicles has been brought to you by Heart's Gambit, my debut novel. It's available for pre-order right now at barnesandnoble.com. What is Heart's Gambit, you ask? It's about 2 time-traveling families, one cursed magical duel, and the pair of star-crossed lovers who might break the cycle if they don't break each other first. If you love the time travel romance of Outlander and the lush, haunting magic of the Night Circus, this is the book for you. Pre-order Heart's Gambit today at barnesandnobles.com and grab your copy when it hits shelves on February 3rd, 2026, wherever books are sold. Again, pre-order Heart's Gambit today at barnesandnoble.com and grab a copy when it hits store shelves on February 3rd, 2026. And while you're at it, don't forget to buy a copy of today's guest book and support their projects as well. Support authors, support bold stories. Now, back to Craft Chat Chronicles. Let's get chatty. How can you hook readers in the early pages of a graphic novel?
I don't know. I guess you write the thing that you have, and then you hope that they are hooked. What did I do? My strategy for this was to be kind of blunt. Like, my approach was to just like set it up as it was. At high school graduation, it was like a day, it happened, and then I got home and I was like, okay, now apparently this is like the rest of my life. And that's like how it felt. And so that's how I felt it was appropriate to like start this, was that I don't need to get into like all of my high school experiences. I don't need to get into all those details right now. All we need to know is like, plunk, here we are, we're at graduation. I think a good like in media res is like a classic way to get people into a story of here we are in this moment, and why are we in this mood, and what is here. And then I went into like straight into like very personal, like changing in my room with my mom asking me like my details of where I was going that night and telling me to be safe, and like just if they, I guess there's no guarantee that they'll be drawn in by that, but if you are drawn into that kind of like domestic detail stuff, then maybe you'll be interested. But I have no.
That's cool.
You just have to hope. You just have to hope that it's interesting again.
What tools and programs would you suggest aspiring graphic artists experiment and practice on?
Oh, there's a lot. I mean, there's so many options now, and there's even been more options since I was in college and in high school. I used an app called Procreate, which is unfortunately named. And that is great because you buy it once. It's relatively inexpensive for a drawing program. I think you do have to have an iPad or a tablet.
Mm-hmm.
But you buy it once instead of a subscription packet. So you're not paying $50 a month for a like Adobe, subscription, which is great just to kind of like get your digital drawing thing rolling. But besides that, like I used to buy these, I still use them, like $1.50 notebooks from Muji, and they're just little white paper and just sketchbook paper. And I keep a pen with me and I keep my notebook with me. And when I have an idea, and if I have the time, I'll just scribble it down. And like, I think a big hurdle is just grabbing those thoughts when you have them and getting them on a piece of paper, because sometimes you have the thought and then it just disappears. And so if you can just kind of wrangle those thoughts into a little sketchbook, and they don't have to be anything perfect or good, that's like a big first step, is being able to translate those ideas just into a little sketch. Everything past then is like, some people are really good at inking. Like I did a lot of practicing of inking on like a Bristol pad, or watercoloring. You'll choose your medium based on kind of where you are in life. I chose digital because I was working on like 3 books at the same time and needed flexibility to just kind of jump between those things and not be beholden to like my desk or, moving everything around. And so there's so many options, and start with something that you're attracted to. And if you don't like it, or if you are feeling frustrated with it, don't feel like you have to struggle through it. You jump to the next thing, and they don't have to be fancy. And if you want to step up your, game and get the next, next thing up, you can do that when you feel like it. But simple. If the simpler things are, the easier you make it for yourself to actually do the thing, then you'll actually do it. And if it's digital, it's digital. If it's paper, it's paper. And you just need to do it. And it doesn't matter necessarily what it is. And I'm a big proponent of like, any moment you feel the impulse, do it with what you have. And if it's lined paper, it's lined paper. And if it's grid, it's grid. Or if it's on your computer, it's that. And
I love
it's
that.
all good. Yeah.
I love that. You collaborated on the cool code. What was the collaborative process like for the author illustrator collaboration? What's that like?
It's interesting, because I didn't really realize this when I was going into it, but there's actually not a lot of conversation between the author and the illustrator, or there wasn't for this project. It all kind of goes through the art director and the editing team. And so my real only communication with her was like saying hi on LinkedIn and then getting her notes on like the documents every once in a while. But she didn't, say anything particular or, to me specifically. The editing team did a really good job of, they might have been getting input from her, but I'm not sure. Making those notes on things, just like, we imagine this to be a little happier, or maybe we want this to look a certain way. They'll give me notes, and those might be from the author, but a lot of the time I think they're just from the design team. But anyway, everythth goes through the editing team. We go like through multiple rounds of drawing and sketching, and the script changes at least once from the first iteration to the second. It's a lot of like Acrobat documents with a lot of notes in them, just a lot of annotations. And then we kind of, enjoy the final product together. But there are some projects I know where there is more collaboration between the author and the illustrator, and that's usually when they have chosen each other, or they're like a team. But we were put together just through agencies and through publishing houses, and that might have had to do with the specific kind of contract, because it was a work for hire contract. So the script had been written already, and they just were finding someone to finish it. So
that's cool.
Yeah.
What advice do you have for someone who wants to be in your position now, for the aspiring graphic novelist?
So, take care of your body, because it is a very physical activity, and it's important that you keep your wrist and your neck and your back healthy so that you can keep doing. It's like an endurance sport. Like you have to stay. And that's, coming from personal experience of like totally screwing up my back even before I had started the book. Makes it a lot easier if you're not in pain. And then just, again, like as I was saying before, whenever you have the impulse, and sometimes when you don't, just get your thoughts out on paper, because this book was really created from like all those little scraps of all the notes and all the little doodles that I'd done for years. And it was kind of a culmination of those skills and those notes and those thoughts. And you kind of are able to tumble that stone into something polished over time. And you can only do that over time if you're practicing. And so just for the literal creation of a book, it's about developing that endurance and developing that like discipline to sit down when you feel like it, but also when you don't feel like it, and then just getting the drawing done. And because graphic novels are so long and there's such like intense process, such an intense process, it's very important to like practice that long-term focus. And I know a lot of people already do that because there's an element of like compulsion when it comes to drawing and like comics specifically, I feel like. And lean into it, but not so far that you hurt your back like I did or your wrist.
I like that.
Yeah.
So what's your debut? Before we get to that, how did you get your agent? Did you do the traditional snail mail, or not snail mail? I'm old. Traditional slush pile?
I think they do snail mail still. I was told to do that. So in a lucky and pretty rare case, I come from like a family where illustration's a family trade. So I had an email of Lori, my agent, and I was kind of like gently encouraged to just send her an idea to see if she'd be interested at all. She was not, she didn't need to take me on. It was very nice of her to do that. But it took a couple more years until I could join the agency. And it was similar in the way of the traditional thing, in the way that I sent her all my samples and I did the packet and I had to have the book pitch. But obviously I had known her name already. So I think half the struggle is hunting down the names of people to know who to send things to. But so it's a couple more years until I joined her, and then she brought me on to try a sample for that Cool Code series as a trial run, kind of just like a 6-month run, because I was still in college. A little bit of a risk, and then started on that series, and then we developed the pitch together. So it took a couple years, but it was nice to have that email for sure.
I think it's really cool that you're from a family of illustrators.
It's really special. And I think, again, like I was talking about with that routine thing, I grew up in a family where people were constantly drawing, and it wasn't strange to see people at the dinner table doodling or drawing each other. And so just having that like spirit of practice, I think, was like the most important thing. And then just having that normalness of drawing was really unique, and I feel really thankful for that.
My kids are really strong drawers, and that's why I was asking what tools to have them practice on, especially like all of them, but especially my 16-year-old, like she's really, really gifted.
Yeah.
And I have no clue where it came from. I always got them supplies because they like them, but I'm a word girl. Yeah. I write, I don't draw, so I don't know where that gift came from. It wasn't me.
Yeah. I mean, it's amazing. Like, I guess I don't really know. I'm like, I guess it probably came from my family. Like, I don't know, because there's some people in my family, they have no inclination for drawing at all. And so I guess I never know. But having like, most of my tools when I was growing up drawing was just like printer paper and like Ticonderoga yellow pencil. Like, and then if your parent just gives you the time and, responds to your artwork, I think that's like, as a parent, one of the best things you can do, of just being like, I'm noticing a specific thing about your drawing. Like, I really like that. And that's just like, for a kid, I think is really important. It's not always like, you can buy every single thing for them and, they're probably not going to be able to use all of it. And so just, encouraging those. What kind of artwork does I know this is a big tangential, but what kind of artwork
she does some painting, but she mostly does drawing. She likes charcoal. She likes pencils. She does a little bit of everything.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's
I think
so
she'll
cool.
do graphics one day too, because she really loves graphic novels and stuff like that. I tried to get her to sit in here so she could hear you, but she's shooting with.
I'm like, keep going.
You won't even know you're there. So you
Keep going. I love, like, I don't know. It's so fun to think about, like, that age, and just keep it up, and don't, like, if you hit a slump. Like, I went through some really weird phases of style, and where I was like trying something new, and it was so rough and like just not resemble anything at all that I wanted. And again, it's just like, just keep working through it. So just, keep a notebook, by you, just, every little thought, you can just get it out. And eventually it'll turn into something that you recognize as like what you hoped it would be like. Or, I mean, there's things that I still can't do. And it'll just be like, practice, just keep practicing it. And, but it's awesome that you're like encouraging it and excited about it. It's like, it's exciting that you're excited about it.
And your art's great too, by the way. I was looking at your website and stuff.
Oh, thanks.
What has debut year been like? What's that experience?
Oh, it's been like really interesting. I kind of wasn't sure what I was going to feel like when the book came out, because it's so personal, and it's been really rewarding to hear things back from people, and like people I went to college with, or just friends, or going on Goodreads and looking at reviews, which I should not be doing. But it's really really rewarding to hear people say, like, yes, this is what it felt like. Like, yes, this is pretty spot on to like the loneliness, or this is pretty spot on to the anxiety or the funniness, or, like, because in a way, I think we all kind of felt like we had a unique year, but we were all kind of like having these similar struggles together and kind of silently. And so while I had known that over the past couple of years, it's just nice to finally be able to share the kind of culmination of work that had happened. And it's been like emotional and it's been emotional and rewarding and kind of beautiful. And I feel like everything's a contrasting emotion of like, oh, anxiety that it's out, and then like relief that it's out, and then like I'm super zooped up, or I'm super tired, and because I think it's that kind of book where it's personal. That's why. But really cool. It's been really cool.
You have a launch party?
I did. I had a little launch party at a bookstore I used to work at called Wild Rumpus here in Minneapolis, and then I'll probably have a smaller gathering of friends here in a couple weeks. It's been a busy month for everybody, so I just got to wrangle the troops to get together and just finally talk about it. So,
is there anything you wish you knew before your debut experience that you now know?
Well, in the way that I guess in the same way that kind of in the book, it's like there were a lot of anxieties that I had about things that did not come to pass, and in a lot of ways, or haven't come to pass yet. I guess jury's out on some of the things, but you cannot feed every single anxiety, because again, not everything will happen that you think will. And debut. And like, you don't have to, not everything needs to be thought through 1,000 times before it is done. There were some like chapters that I wrote that just kind of flowed out, and then they were kind of perfect, and they didn't really need any help. And some of them I just chiseled away at forever, and then eventually kind of came back to the first thought, and that was the freshest. And sometimes it's just, you have to trust that something is going to work out. And then besides that, something I would tell just it will be done. The work will be done at one point. And don't worry, you'll make your deadlines, and good on you for making your deadlines. But people will be nice to you even if you don't. But I did. So that, yeah, just, there were a lot of things I worried about. And now that I know them moving forward, I kind of know like how organized I need to be for X, or how prepared I need to be by this stage. But every project is new. So, some of the stuff might not be applicable if I do another project, and you just have to ride the wave. You have to ride the wave of the process, and follow through, and not everything is going to be perfect, but it will be. And that's most important. So yeah.
Very true. Very true. What are you working on currently?
So I'm kind of like in a transitional phase with work stuff. I am at a new job. I got an in-person job, which has been really exciting and fun. It's a totally different industry and not related to art, which I'm really enjoying. But I have started the very early beginnings of a graphic novel. I don't know if I should say anything, because then it'll run away from me. But it's a project that I'm excited about, and is more of a fictional story than this. It's a fictional story, and fiction's not something I've completed a project in yet. I've done short stories and things, but I'm excited about the thought of it. And I'm in those kind of early stages of putting together the post-it notes and the note cards and pulling all the little notes from my phone, and that kind of early organizational stage. And it's fun. I don't have the pressure of needing to sell it right now because I have a stable job, and it's giving me some peace. So now I can just have some fun. But what else am I working on? I'm finishing a painting that has been sitting in my office for a full year that I started a year ago. So
is it close enough that we can see it, or no?
No, it's at home.
Okay.
I wish, but I will post it on my Instagram when it's done. I shouldn't say it'll be done soon, but hopefully it'll be done soon.
Awesome. Let me think. Trying to think of what we didn't cover. What's the best piece of career advice that you've gotten from your family of illustrators?
Oh, okay. So illustration is an industry that has changed a lot and will continue to change a lot. We're like in a new phase of like AI art and of like computer generated things. And it's an industry that is really susceptible to like economic impact and just that ebb and flow of like the arts and entertainment industry. So the best piece of advice is like roll with the punches. If it's getting too tough, it doesn't mean anything about you if you have to go get a job. Like it doesn't mean anything if you're having a hard time selling your art in at a place where they used to just buy. If you send out 1,000 emails and you get no responses, it's just how the industry is. And like to know that is like part of like the course of a career was really important. And I think on one hand, it kind of made them not discourage me from pursuing it, but like they were worried for me because they know how hard it was. They were like, just letting you know it's going to be tricky. And like, we love you, but we would love if you had health insurance, so like just their like empathy was great. And knowing that they've had ebbs and flows in their careers where they've gone and done something completely different. Or you have to completely reinvent. You have to reinvent and do a different style. You have to approach different like kinds of products you can do. Maybe you go from editorial magazine to like children's products. You need to be able to pivot, and like it's not a reflection on like the quality of your work. It's just a reflection of a market. And if that becomes painful or that becomes too difficult, it is totally fine to just go do something else and do personal work And then maybe in a few years or few months, like there will be someone in the market that's ready for you again. That is like the best advice I've ever gotten, because I think like it can be so discouraging. Like I've sent out 1,000 notes on LinkedIn to people and no responses. Like it's hard to hear no, but it is a huge part of everything. And that was, just knowing that they've heard no 1,000 times and they still love it and they still do it personally and it's still meaningful to them. And I will understand that more and more and more as I go throughout. And I've not even been, I've only been in the industry for like 3 years, but I'm like, that is so important to know about. Because it can be, it can feel so personal, but it's not. It's really not. Oh no, did I lose you? Oh, I lost you there for a second.
Yeah, I lost you too.
Okay.
The last thing I heard was that was the most important thing to know about.
I think that's it. I think I can stop there.
Okay. Love that. Let me think. I had a question on the tip of my tongue and then I refroze on my side. I guess I froze on your side and it vanished. So now I'm trying to find it again. Let me think. What was it? Oh yeah, I remember now. It was the submission process. Did you get a lot of no's in the submission process, or was that a relatively smooth process for you?
It was relatively smooth. Again, it needed a lot of work before we got to that point. I think it was on a couple of editors' desks. I think this is like cosmic luck, because my editor who I ended up working with was like, they were looking to fill out their graphic novel collection, which not all places are trying to do, because they're more expensive projects for publishers to do than like a picture book, for example. They were looking for a graphic novel in that age group, YA, and the Christie, the head of the publishing house, had a child that was going to be in their freshman year of college.
Oh,
and
wow.
So
all the stars aligned for you.
Serendipitous. Yeah, I was like, wow. The second they told me that, I was like, okay, I'm so lucky. Like, I don't ever have to do anything again, because that was just like, that's nice. So yeah, I really lucky. And like, I've tried to sell a project since then, and like timing wasn't right. So I feel as though that was the one book that just needed, perhaps needed to be done. And I'll keep, trying in the future. But that process was like weirdly smooth. And as like scary as it felt to go through the like contract signing process, overall it was pretty smooth. And
how long did that take? Because I've heard it can take up to 4 months to get your contract.
Oh yeah. Oh God. Well, it was like very early COVID, and so publishing houses were kind of scrambling, and they were kind of figuring out how they were going to do remote stuff. So it was a little delayed. I want to. Oh God, that period was such a blur. I want to say it was probably probably like 3 or 4 months. It could be longer or shorter. Yeah, it was. Yeah, 4 months sounds about right. That's how it was kind of for the last 2 projects too. And again, this might have been a COVID thing, but there was a decent gap between when that contract was signed and when we started working. So just, I guess, I had advice about that. It's just, you can start working on your project and you don't need to wait for them to tell you to start. And just be ready for, when they jump in and give you a deadline. So yes. True. Yeah. About 4 months probably.
Okay. How did you handle the rejection you spoke about when you talked about like when you send the emails and you don't get responses, the period when you didn't know that it was going to all work out in the end? How did you navigate that?
Oh God, I don't know. I probably just went on a lot of walks. I guess you just have to like be hopeful. I mean, yeah, I think I got into swimming laps in a period there. I was like, I just needed some sort of like meditative process. And I'm like still in that phase of sending a lot of emails. And one thing that's helpful to think about, like this is a mindset thing, but it's like, how would it feel to you to receive a note from somebody on LinkedIn and you've got a full plate, you've got a full, full-time job and you've got a lot to do and someone's reaching out to you and asking for something. You are not beholden to them at all. Like you do not have to say anything to them at all. And because I know how overworked a lot of people are, I just am like, it just needs to reach one person who's like in a good mood on a Friday. They have an open mailbox. They haven't, they don't have too much to do. I just try to keep in mind like what people's lives actually look like when you're sending them all this stuff, because they're not just they're not like an evil villain sitting at their desk saying like, no, I don't want to crush your dreams, like you can't illustrate for us. Like that's not really what it's like. And again, I think a lot of it is just timing and repetition. Also, you might not be sending the email to the right person. Like art editors move around a lot, so it could be that like they've left the company, like they don't even work there anymore, and you need to go to the new registry or whatever and check it out. I don't have like a success, like a sure way to success for reaching people, but I know a lot of people also go to conferences, and that's a good way just to talk to people in person, because that's when they're actually looking. And going to those career fest and conference things, that's a surefire way to at least meet somebody in person, and then they can put a name to the face and remember your work. But how did I do? Yeah, sorry, that was a tangent. Yes, fine. I go for a walk and I swim and I remind myself.
So for clarity's sake, because I think you explained this, but I just want to make sure I heard it right. Mm-hmm. So because you keep going back to sending the emails. So in the emails, you have like your pitch for whatever project you're talking about. And do you attach your proposal then, or is it just the pitch and a couple of samples? What do you put in the email?
It depends on what you're trying to do. So for me, most of the pitching I've done is for like editorial illustration. So I'll send them my portfolio, like my website, and then I will make a fly sheet, which is just like a PDF of some of my favorite artwork that I think goes with their vibe. And a good way to contact you. So it's really simple. Just keep it as simple as possible for people just to click at it, look at it, think about it, and then respond to you. And that's just like something that those are things that you make when you're kind of in your marketing, your marketing hat is on, making fly sheets, making tear sheets, making lookbooks. Just make it really easy for people to see your artwork and then respond to you. Pitching wise, it's mostly editorial. I do the same thing for product type illustration. So if I'm contacting a toy company, it's the same thing, just toy specific illustrations or patterns, or tailor it to who you're actually sending it to. And then make sure that the note sounds personal enough. Like, hi, I found your company in X magazine and I really enjoyed this work by blah. I think it really, we have a good, I think we'd work together great. I have a style that I think kind of resonates with your company, and, kind of try to make it as specific as possible so that they know you're not just sending out the same email to 1,000 people, because you are contacting a real person, and you do like building those personal connections are important, and people want to work with a friendly person, and they're hoping you too are going to be the perfect person to work with. And so yeah, tailoring those emails.
That wraps up today's Craft Chat Chronicles with JD Mayor. Thanks for joining us. If you liked the episode, please comment, subscribe, and share. For show notes, writing workshops, and tips, head to jdmayor.com. That's jdmayor.com. While you're there, join JD's mailing list for updates, giveaways, and more.
Thank you. Great personality, a great spirit, and great talent.
Oh, thank you. That's nice.
I'll talk to you soon.
Perfect. Thank you so much.
All right. Bye.
Bye.